guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here with these blank sheets. Now these are card blanks that I've had in my stash for a really long time, and I thought, well, time to use them up. I've got some more, so I might come along, you know, another time and make something else with them. But yeah, I thought let's just come along with these. Now the problem is with the card blanks is they've got this fold in the middle, which hopefully the camera's picking that up. Now, what I'm going to do is just ignore the fold, and I'm going to just make some tags from these. Now, as you can see, they've got a, like a fade out going into the middle, which I think is quite nice, actually. So, yeah, I'm just going to kind of try and, you know, yeah, just work with them. So I'm going to cut them down because they're probably a little bit on the big side, obviously. Well, they are a bit on the big side. So I'm just going to cut them down like this. Oh, excuse me. That's the first sneeze that I've had so far today, and that's just typical, isn't it? No sooner do I hit record, and obviously then I'm sneezing. So sorry about that. So just take them down like that. And then I'm just going to glue them onto this fly sheet. So the fly sheet is, you know, the blank sheets that you get on the inside of a book before you get into the kind of pages of a book. So I'm just going to glue them on there. Now I'm going to glue them down, I was going to say fold, you know, the mountainside kind of thing. It probably doesn't really matter too much, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, let's put one with the fold kind of downways and one with the fold upways, and then we can see, you know, which works better. Okay. Oh, come on, glue. Don't let me down at the very beginning of the video. Okay. So just plenty of glue so that it's going to be glued nicely down onto my backing sheet. And this is just, you know, because I quite like really thick tags. So I just want to make sure it's, you know, nice and thick and robust. I mean, obviously, you know, if you're happy with them with the thickness of the card that they are, I mean, they're not thin card by any stretch of the imagination, because they are, you know, they are card blanks from a card making pack. Sorry, I'm just getting my glue spreader. So, you know, they're quite robust anyway, but I do like them kind of a bit more robust still, because then hopefully they're going to be nice sturdy tags. But, you know, you don't have to have them double thickness. You could just kind of work with them single thickness. Okay, now I'm just going all around the edge and then obviously just filling in the middle. Nothing that you haven't probably seen before. Oops. And then just glue that down. And then, I know I've said this tons of times, but what I do is when I cut them out, I try and cut into the tag by sort of 1 millimetre or so, and that way hopefully you're really getting to the glue edge. So your tag is then really nicely firmly glued, you know, right to the very edge. So let's just take those. I'm just going to cut them out. So I'm just going to cut this off so it's a bit easier. Okay, so I'll just cut that down by 1 millimetre or so. And then down the edge. Like that. And you can see the way it's separated from the paper. Obviously the glue wasn't right to the edge of there. So hopefully by cutting in by just 1 millimetre, you know, you have got much closer to the glue edge. And I'm just going to cut my tag shapes. Whoops. Didn't make a very good job of that one. Oh well. Right. So that's tag number 1. And then we'll just do the next one. So exactly the same, just, you know, go over by, it's just a fraction. You're just literally going in by a fraction. Like that. And to be honest, you know, you might not even find this is necessary, especially if you're stitching around the tag. You know, then obviously you're going to kind of then reinforce the tag anyway. So you're going to get sort of closer to the edge. I don't know really why, but yeah, it's just something that I kind of have done, you know, for a long time now, and I just find it does work really well. So there we go. Okie dokie, right. Oops. Okay. That's my couple of tags. Now, what I thought we could do is incorporate them with some die cut pieces that I bought these quite a while ago. They're from Stamperia. Now, they're quite weird because they're this kind of clear stuff. I'm not really too sure whether I would call these acetate. I mean, it probably says what they are, but I'll just pull them out and show them to you. Well, I guess they are acetate, but they've got like a sort of filmy back. So although they're acetate, you know, very much on the front, on the back, they've got a sort of, oh, what would that surface be called? Almost like a pearlized surface. So yeah, I'm not quite sure really what, you know, what I would say these were, but yeah, combination of like acetate and vellum, but they're quite thick. You know, so they're not really a kind of material that I've come across before in crafting. So yeah, I think they're quite nice anyway. So, and these are, oh, what theme are these? I mean, they're just called clear die cuts. Oh, Sleeping Beauty. So they're Sleeping Beauty themed. Aren't they just so pretty? So I thought, let's go for these and use these. Oh my goodness, isn't that gorgeous? Right. Yeah, I think these are going to look quite pretty on here. So I'm just going to kind of embrace those. Now, I've got some of my background pages here that are just kind of scraps and things left over from other things that I've been working with. So I thought we might be able to just use some of this. So let's just tear this down. Don't know about this lady on here, but we'll see. We will see. I was going to have the horse on here, but well, I guess the horse does look okay. I mean, is she a bit ginormous for the horse? I don't know. Let's just tear this down. Right, I'm just going to tear it down like this, actually. Okay. Oh, I can't decide. Let's see what other little shapes and things there are in here. Now, I have to be honest, because I haven't opened these before, I don't know what glue is going to be best for these. I mean, I got to say, I think perhaps double-sided tape would actually be quite good, but I don't think I've got any with me. So yeah, I'm going to have to just work with what I've got here. Lots of these are sentiments. I don't know what that means, but anyway. Perhaps if you know what that means, you could just kind of let everybody know below. So, right, let's tear this down. And then just going to tear along this, just to get rid of that white edge. Okay, so I'm going to have this down here. Now, just wondering whether we might like some white doily. Don't know why, but just kind of thought, oh, white doily maybe look quite nice. Yeah, because it's got quite a sort of fairy, well, I mean, obviously it's got a fairy tale look. It is a fairy tale, Sleeping Beauty, but yeah, I just thought actually it might look quite nice with a bit of white doily on there. So let's pop that down there. Okay. And then just going to pop this one down as well. So this is printed on quite thick card, so, or, you know, paper / card. So, you know, my tag's probably going to end up really, really, really solid, really stiff. And then I shall wish, obviously, that I had used thinner paper. But, I mean, I quite like a, you know, big, robust tag. So, yeah, I'm all for quite thick, solid tags. So, right, let's just glue that down. Okay. I'll just take this down here on the edge. Oops. And there. Okay, right. And then, yeah, the horse. Kind of thinking the horse at the top. I'm in, oh, sorry, losing my ability to speak. Yeah, quite often I would have my focal point sort of nearer the bottom. I don't know why that is. Sorry, I'm just going to move the camera slightly. I don't know why that is, but quite often I tend to have them nearer the bottom. But for this one, I actually think maybe higher for that horse. Plus he's going to cover a bit more of the crease, although he's not actually covering any of the crease. So yeah, that's kind of thrown that theory out the window, hasn't it? Well, perhaps we'll have him about there and we'll just have a rose there, which is then of course covering up some of that crease. And I'm thinking let's just have a look at these sentiments. So I made a wish and you came true. That's rather nice, isn't it? Let's just have a look. Or just make a wish, maybe. That's quite nice. Have I got any of that paper left? No, I must have used it all. But that's fine. Right, let me just have a look and see whether I've got any bows that might look quite pretty on here. I think this is going to be way too big, but let's just see. Oh, it is quite huge, isn't it? But oh, let's cut it out. I'm now thinking maybe we might have this at the top. I wonder if we could have a wax seal on here. The wax seal might look monstrous on here because it's going to be bigger probably than like the pieces that I'm sticking on. And sometimes the proportion, you know, is okay, isn't it? And it's kind of like seamless. But I think maybe what makes the difference is if your pieces that you're sticking on are an actual thing, i.e. the horse, then maybe that's just weird to then have, you know, something that's bigger than the horse, if you see what I mean. So maybe that's what makes it look okay or not look okay. Right, let's have a look and see whether we want any butterflies. This one might be quite pretty. In fact, either of these. Let me just take these and cut these out. That one or that one. I think it's probably got slightly more yellow leaning, hasn't it? So let's just take the yellow one. Yeah, I've had these for quite a long time, these shapes. I don't know why, but yeah, like all these things, was hoarding them, you know, didn't want to open them, didn't want to use them. I thought, wow, this is just ridiculous because, you know, why do I buy things and then not want to use them? You know, that's just, you know, it makes it pointless buying them, doesn't it, to be honest? So it's time to use these things, isn't it? So yeah, right, I quite like that. So I'm just wondering whether I might want to ink up the bow a little bit with possibly, I know this is a bit of a brave choice there, but what I'm thinking is that that's going to tie that bow in. Oh, excuse me. Tie that bow in a little bit with the tag. So I want to still have blue, you know, showing on the bow, but if we make it you know, blue and green, it maybe will, you know, tie the two things together. So that looks quite pretty, doesn't it? Okay, right, so I'm going to glue the bow down first because the horse is kind of going over the bow. So by putting the bow down first, I can then put the horse down on top of the bow. So like that, okay. And then the horse, just because he's going just very slightly over that bit of bow there. Now, I'm a bit nervous. I'm not quite sure which glue to use for gluing these bits down. I don't know. I've obviously used the hot glue here. I mean, I'm sure that the wet glue would glue this on fine. Let's have a look. I was a little bit worried that it's going to kind of show through. I mean, well, it doesn't look like it's showing through, to be honest. Okay, so I've gone for the wet glue on there. Now, this horse is going to be hanging off, and I'm going to probably have to cut a bit of him off. So I hope these are going to cut okay, and I'm not going to actually, you know, make a mess of cutting him. Right. Let's wet glue him down as well. So. Yeah, this is such weird material. I really don't know how to describe it, but I mean, it is like acetate. It's much thicker than, you know, the regular sort of transparency type acetate that we get for like the printers. But like I say, it does have this kind of vellumy, cloudy type coating on the back, which, I mean, it's really nice, to be honest. It's really nice. But I'm not sure what it would be described as. I mean, we could leave the tail hanging so we don't have to mutilate the horse. You know, that would be fine. Let me just wipe that glue off of there, for just in case I do decide to do that. Okay, so yeah, that's really nice. And then my Once Upon a Time sentiment, I'm just going to have down here. And then I'm going to have the butterfly going across there. So how pretty does that look? Okay. You know, I mean, we've made this tag completely from a blank, you know, old card making blank, you know, card blank. And just a handful of die cuts, really. I mean, the only other thing was obviously a bit of patterned paper and a bit of doily. And then everything else is just, you know, die cuts, really. So, you know, you really don't need to put much or have much in the way of materials. Just a handful of pretty things. And how gorgeous does that tag look? Now, I will probably stitch around it on the sewing machine as well. Probably avoiding the bow, so maybe just go around to the bow. But yeah, how lovely does that look? So pretty, isn't it? So let's do the other one. So we've got this one here. Now, like I say, I'm not quite sure with this one whether this lady looks quite right. So I might decide to use a different paper altogether here. Let's just see if we have her this side. Well, I mean, that's quite pretty, isn't it? So, I mean, this one, we could make this a lot more sort of toned down. The other one was, you know, really pretty with all those lovely colours on. We could make this a sort of more toned down sort of brownie type tag, couldn't we? Yeah, shall we do that? Okay, so going to glue this down. Now, obviously, I will need to trim this off in a moment, but I'll just put it down in the first place, and then we know where to trim it. Okay. Oops. Okay, like that. Okie dokie. Okay, and then just literally trim around the bottom and the edge. Like that. And there. Okay, right. So oh, I was going to have the castle on there, wasn't I? Do you know, I have to say, I think I prefer the people, you know, the couple. I think they look better. Now, make a wish. Where would we want this? Oh, maybe there. Yeah, maybe there. I love the way this is, you know, quite, oh, what's the word? Like fantastical. Fantastical? I'm not sure really whether that's the right word or even a word, but anyway, fantasy-like. Right, let's take this bow. Just because I'd said about keeping this more neutral themed, didn't I? So, yeah, let's take this bow and see. You know, it might not really be the right thing, but let's just have a look and see. So I hope everyone's having a good day, doing some crafting, having a nice time. The sun's shining here, so yep, it's all good, feeling good today. I haven't been outside yet, so I don't know whether temperature-wise it's a nice day. It might be absolutely horrible, but it looks nice anyway, and that's half the battle, isn't it? If it looks nice, that's something. So right, thinking maybe just have the bow, maybe just even coming off at the side there. That looks quite pretty, doesn't it? And, you know, I mean, the purpose, obviously, of, you know, putting the bow kind of with the shiny pieces, I suppose, is, you know, it's quite nice to have that contrast, isn't it, of the shiny and the dull. You know, that's quite pretty and makes it quite interesting to look at, really, when you've got, you know, a mixture of the shiny and the dull. I was going to have a couple of flowers. I'm not sure. Not sure whether it needs them now. Let me just pull in those wax seals, because I did talk about those, didn't I, in the last one, or on the last one. Not sure whether, you know, they're too big. I mean, we'd said about keeping it more neutral, didn't we? Let me just bring in those little ribbony banner things that I've got. I've just added to these a little bit last night. I just had a few odds of ribbon, and I thought, oh, I'll just make a few more. That's quite pretty, like that as a tab, isn't it? Or that one. I think either of those look quite nice, to be honest. Not sure whether the flower is really doing a lot. Oh, I suppose it looks, yeah. It's one of those things that when you take it away, you think, oh, actually, it kind of does look better with the flower. So let's put this down. I'm now actually backtracking and thinking, instead of the brown bow, maybe we need a sort of, you know, something in this petrol-y green colour, you know, like the wax seal is, because that looks really, really pretty, doesn't it? So, yeah, I mean, I was trying to brown this up, but now let's try and green it up instead. So I'm just going to put this down here. I mean, it feels like these, you know, would be very resistant to the glue because they're quite solid in their texture. But I mean, touch wood, they're actually seeming like they're gluing down quite well. And again, just putting that one over that crease mark so she can't, oops, it's over her head as well. So that's not so good. Right, so that it's just disguising that crease a little bit. Like that. Okay. Like that, and then this one here. I quite like the fact it's hanging off of the tag. It's, you know, altering the shape of the tag, which is quite nice. It just makes it more interesting, really, to look at. So, okay, like that. And then the ribbon banner with the wax seal kind of over the flower a little bit, which, yeah, that's quite pretty, isn't it? Okay, right, so I'm just going to hot glue this down, and I know that I've talked about this before, but when you're hot gluing the wax seals down, what you just need to be aware of is in the first few seconds, or first, you know, I mean, I'm talking like literally a second or something, it's going to kind of remelt the wax, because obviously it's, you know, red hot onto the wax. So when I do it, I just kind of put the glue on and then push the wax seal down on the thicker parts a little bit, just to get it to glue down, just for the first couple of seconds whilst that glue's melted the wax. And then, you know, once a couple of seconds have gone by, then the wax has obviously cooled down, and then you can obviously press it completely like that. Okay, so it's just kind of something to just be a little bit aware of, that, you know, your wax is going to remelt slightly, but only for a couple of seconds. So, you know, you don't have to not touch it for ages, but just be careful how you're pressing it on. Press it down on the places where perhaps the glue wasn't, and then after a couple of minutes, then press where the glue was, if that makes sense. So, yeah, right, okay, let's have a look. Oh, I'm not sure any of these are going to be the right colour, but let's just try this. Or I think maybe a pink one. Just because I don't know as I've got a bow in that sort of colour. I would have quite liked to have had a bow, but yeah, I mean, got that one, which is tiny, and I think probably I would have preferred a, you know, something a bit bigger. Let's take this blue butterfly and just see. And it might look rubbish, but it might look okay. I mean, Stamperia, they just do the prettiest things, don't they? But a couple of times I have been caught out. I know that obviously one of the stencils that I bought, it was very thin and flimsy. The rest of them were fine, but it was just that one. But apparently it was a specific type of stencil. I can't remember now what they said, but anyway, a specific type. And what was the other thing? Not sure about that blue one. Got this green. Let's try this. And the only other thing was their die cut pieces, which were like cardboard, which again, they were fine, but they were unexpected. I hadn't realised that they were going to be so thick, because I think they described them as chipboard. And of course, chipboard comes in very, you know, varying thicknesses, doesn't it? So often things are called chipboard, but they're not that thick. And yeah, they just were very thick. But that was, you know, again, completely my own fault, because I should have, you know, I should have paid more attention and kind of thought that through, because of course they weren't going to be really thin and flimsy. They had described them as chipboard. Okay. Right. Just try the pink one. Okie dokie. Oh, the pink's a bit out there, isn't it? It's got no other pink really anywhere on the whole tag, so it's like, where's the pink suddenly appeared from? That's a bit weird. I think the blue or the green. Probably the green is, you know, better. Or we could have the brown bow. I mean, I don't know. Oh, I wish I had more things with me. It's just like we always say, you know, you have all these tons of things, but still not quite the right thing. Oh, I've got some more bows here, actually. Let's have a look look at this one. I don't know. This might be really strange adding this sort of colour, but let's just try it. Okay. Oops. Oh, I'm filming this on a Sunday morning. Everyone's still asleep. It's lovely. Absolutely lovely. So, yeah, hence I haven't been out or anything yet. Oh, that's, like, got no place there whatsoever, has it? It's like, ooh, why have you put that on there? There's no other purple. I just thought it might have toned, you know, quite nicely, but... yeah, it just looked really out of place, didn't it? And really strange, but it was worth a try. You know, because occasionally you put things on and actually it's the one that you don't expect that looks really good. So, yeah, I thought it might have been one of those instances, but no. Right, I'll just cut this one. Okay. There we go. Well, that doesn't look too bad, does it? Yeah. Maybe that looks quite pretty. Just see. I'm just going to see if there's any other little rosebuds that are more like the one that's popped up there, because that's not really like it either, is it? No. Okay, what's that? I wonder if we could have that in the centre of the bow. That's quite pretty, isn't it? Okay, right. Just have to hope for the best that this is going to glue down. Do you know, I might use a combination of the hot and the wet glue. I know that sounds strange, but, you know, because I'm not sure which one's going to be best. So I'm thinking, let's have a combination of the two. And then hopefully between the two, one of them is going to be a good one to have used. Okay, so yeah, that's glued there. And then just going to take this, I'm just going to try and hot glue this down. So haven't used the hot glue really with these yet. So let's hope I haven't made a mistake, but oh, how pretty does that look? It's so pretty, I must say. Yeah, so that's my two kind of like fantasy tags taken from just using card blanks, you know, to make those tags. Like I say, I will probably stitch around the edges, but I'll probably go off and do that, you know, in slow time. So, oh, let me just go and do it now. Hold on. Okay, so I'm back from the sewing machine, and I luckily happen to have this thread, which I thought, oh, this is a brilliant colour, because I was going to do them with black, and I thought, oh, black's a little bit harsh. White, I thought, well, it might not really have enough of an impact at all, and then it would be pointless doing it. So I went with this kind of pretty green colour, which, how gorgeous does that look? So there's that one, and then I'll just cut these threads off quickly of this one, and then I'll show you this one. I have to say, if you're going to do anything like this, if you've got any of these Stamperia pieces, the sewing machine, it went through them fine. It did go through them, but it made a lot of noise clonking because it was almost like it was stitching through plastic. So, yeah, just to kind of be aware, I guess, that, you know, it's going to sound like it's, yeah, going to break your needle. Touch wood, mine didn't, but, you know, I guess it probably would if you sewed enough of it. Anyway, yeah, really pretty tags, aren't they? So yeah, I hope that you like them, and hope it's inspired you to maybe dig out some of your old cardstock and things. You know, if you've got any old card blanks and things, you know, that are a slight pattern on them, or like this where they fade in or anything, then dig them out and, you know, make some tags or do something else, you know, with them. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks then. Bye.